when you've got someone on the team like Elliott, who's got all that deal experience, you can say, hey, I'm thinking about it this way, and just get a sanity check, or just get good advice based off what are they seeing in the market? What have you done in the past in this situation? That's where the ultimate value is, to be honest with you. I mean, there's times we've had conversations where you gave me one answer. 5 years down the road, hopefully I could be like, you know what, that one answer saved me or made me millions of dollars. And that's how these things really work. Is
I don't want to make this more complicated than it needs to be. For me, I'm thinking of this from the point of view of like you a week or two before we started engaging. If you were, as you were thinking about your different options, if you needed to hear something that would have made you understand the value of what we delivered as you feel it today, if you can just kind of talk to that a little bit.
I'll just give you some content. You'll probably have to cut it a little bit to whatever you need. But yeah, I mean, I think my biggest takeaway and what I realized early and in my experience was like confirmation when I got to the end is just kind of, the importance, the ability to offload the heavy lifting of a financial due diligence so that, I was able to focus my attention on the commercial side and customers and kind of getting ahead of that transition. And it's like, what is that worth? And I actually have an accounting background. So theoretically speaking, I could have probably done, 70% of it. But if that takes me 60 days, what am I missing in that other due diligence? And then on the flip side, if you're doing an SBA finance loan at $5 million, you're talking about a business that's making over $1 million a year in seller discretionary earnings. So if using a firm like Guardian, if that can get you to closing 30 days faster, you made money on it. You made money on the report. If you get 60 days faster, you made money on the report. So, when you look at the value of your time, the speed to get to close, and oh yeah, by the way, the diligence the other prongs of the diligence task, you're doing even better. It's kind of a triple win. You get to close faster, you potentially make money off of the report, but then the diligence is just better as a whole because the most critical part is being done by professionals and you're spending twice as much time. It's kind of a no-brainer. And I think I reached that conclusion early. And my biggest takeaway is here we are after a pretty complicated deal that involved 3 different entities, intercompany transactions, some noise that made things complicated. When I get to the end, I'm like, my assessment was correct. And I was able to focus that attention on other things. And I feel like I know the business, in a lot better regard than, if I'd have been trying to do everything by myself. And I think as an individual, if you're in this, you maybe have some support, but it's really important to not get bogged down. And if you're if you're very analytical like I am, you can get into due diligence. 60 days goes by like that, and you realize you haven't taken your head out of a spreadsheet. And yeah, maybe 90 days down the road, you're comfortable with the numbers, but you don't know anything about the customers. And so I think it's really important to offboard that. And then for me, the selection of Guardian was, I've dealt with CPA firms in different capacities and worked for one. A lot of times you get really smart people that will take numbers and run a bunch of tests, but then they give you back the numbers and it's like, okay, I understand this, or you don't, depending on what your background is. But what do I do with this? Where's that decision report? I'm an entrepreneur. I've done this more than once, but most of the time I'm running businesses. I'm not actually doing this. So it all funnels down to a couple really critical points where you make a decision to go left or go right. And there's art in that. That's part of being an entrepreneur. But to have that, to have that assistance and that experience in a game of, everybody says it, and it's so true. It's like this whole game is all about experience. You know what I mean? If I did 10 of these, I'd be so much better on the 10th one. But as an entrepreneur, quite frankly, you that's not your role. You do a couple of these depending on your career path. That's why it's important to bring people that have that experience in addition to the technical chops. And that's been my experience with Guardian. And the biggest reason why I would recommend them is a report is great, but that deal support and that one answer and that one idiosyncratic thing about your deal that someone's like, you know what, I've seen this before. At the end of the day, those are the things that can really change the trajectory. And that's what you're getting versus just a CPA firm. So anyway, hopefully there's some content in there you can chop up.
Certainly, I'm flattered. I work really hard at this, and I started the business to do stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to scrape up a deal that has some complexity and give a straight answer to a client who I built a relationship with. And even though, at one point we were trying to kind of figure out some stuff, but I think when you get to that point and you still kind of keep moving in a positive direction and almost build more rapport, which I'm really excited about, Jesse. And certainly, it doesn't have to be 5 minutes, man. Whatever you need, just let me know. And I'm here. You know, the whole thing was to help you close the
Awesome.
deal or
Yeah.
get the bad one out, and I honor that.
No. I'm gonna hold you to that. So I'll in with this. I'm kind of like I know what I'm about to get into because I need to kind of bring this up with Clyde. When I'm on the other side of that, hopefully it's in 2 weeks, whatever. Whether I close or I don't, we'll have a real Zoom call. And we'll bro down.
There we go.
How's that? Yeah.
There we
you know
go.
what I'm saying?
There we go.
I kind of got my armor on right now because I got a meeting with them tomorrow. So I'm just
yep.
you know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the zone right now. Yeah. So once I get to the other side of this, regardless, we'll have a real conversation and bro down. And I look forward to keeping in touch and becoming friends in some capacity. Maybe hitting the slopes one of these days when your arm heals up.
Yeah, man. No, when next time I get out there, which may be February, I'll let you know. And then I think that's the cool thing about this business too, is I make some friends, Jesse. So we can keep that going.
No, it's you know how it is, man. It's like the tech world was a lot worse. But there's just so many phonies, and I don't mean that in a judgmental or a bad way. It's just people they want to, but it's like it's rare when you find people that have actually done it, and it's a small group. And the extent we can all help each other. Hey, man, this lawyer helped me out in that situation. You know how it is, dude. But
yeah. And then you can trust somebody's word. It's not their incentive speaking. It's them. They're gonna announce their bias, and they're gonna offer the full advice that they have, and then step out of certain situations that they're not an expert in. I mean, I think the piece that I've learned probably the most in the past 10 years about business that I didn't get as well before was the trust component. And yeah, you can get trust 10 years with somebody. We don't have that time. But certain simple things, answering questions directly, speaking your bias before you have an opinion, qualifying how you know stuff. I think it really helps people build quickly, man. And I've had
that's a truth. And you do a good job at that. Yeah, for sure. I recognize that. That's such a good way of putting it, especially speaking your biases before you. That builds so much credibility. But hey, I'm gonna be pinging you here and there. Like I said, I got my helmet on, and but I'll keep you posted. And then we'll be talking, man. We'll be talking. But great work, man. It was a great experience. But we're not done. Let's get it across the goal line.
Let's get it done. All right, Jesse.
All right, man.
Take care, man.
Enjoy the rest of your week. Yep.
Thank you, man.
See you, man.